Yeah. Okay. So you already have done this, but still I am going to show you. We are going to revisit that concept of classes and constructors and everything. I am going to share my screen with you. Yeah. No, this one. Yes. So those who have missed out on these concepts, they can visit the concept again. We are revisiting that concept of classes, objects, and everything. Okay. I started with Jupyter Notebook. It is taking, I think, some time. All right. Meanwhile, it does that. No. Oh, yeah, it is opening now. I'm going to give you the favorite example, the famous example of employee today, and we are going to start with that. So, the reason why we create classes, things were very much simple when you were creating list, when you were creating dictionary. Things were very much simple in the sense you can simply create a list which is having employee name, then it could have his ID, it could have his salary, okay, it could have its position, maybe typist or something, it can have its post, it can have its name. Things are very much simple when you look at dictionary, when you look at list and everything. But it is always insufficient because you need a dedicated unit to store your information. Dedicated unit in the sense you require your own unit. Or if I give you a real life example, I could tell you should think about filling up a form for your examination of GATE, say for example. Then your GATE is a class which is going to have fields like student name, student college name, which branch is opting GATE for. These information can be easily managed if you have a big fat unit known as a class. With list also, things are very simpler. It was easy to manage this. It was easy to pass the values over here. But again, it is having some limitations, right? Every data structure is having some limitation because maybe after a few lines of code, you forgot what this meant. What is this meant for? Is it an ID? Is it a salary? Is it the name of the employee? Is it the position of the employee? We don't know. So when you are coding for higher level programming, whenever you are coding for bigger data structure, it is always possible, it is always convenient and flexible to use classes instead of using such simple data structures. Are you getting the point why we are using class here? What is the point of creating classes since all the languages? Whenever you are creating arrays in, it is possible to create lists with different type of values in Python, which was definitely a limitation in other languages. It was for sure a limitation in other languages that we were not able to create hybrid structure in other languages. But the point of creating class is creating a dedicated unit for that purpose. And you can definitely create list inside a class. You can definitely create dictionary inside. It is possible to create data structures inside a class, but creating a class is always useful for creating dedicated units. So that is the point of creating the class. If we come back to the program, and let me show you the program that we did in the last class, or we can let us begin with a fresh one. All right, okay. Let us begin with a fresh class today. Let us create the employee class, the age-old famous class, okay? Yeah. Okay, it's still loading. Okay. If we come to our, class, then I am creating the first class of employee, okay? And if you want to definitely, oh yeah, this I don't remember if I've conveyed this or not. If you want to create a unit that is having nothing inside it, in the sense if I go with Java syntax, no, it is easy to create empty class like this. It is having nothing inside it, and it is also easy to instantiate it, okay? With JDK I'm talking about, okay? With Java or C++ I'm talking about, it is very easy to instantiate an empty class. It is okay with us. But in Python, whenever you want to create an empty class, we use the pass keyword. the pass keyword is used for creating empty units. This definitely means that the class is currently empty. It is having no variables, it is having no functions. Is it a legal definition of a class? Let us check. Yeah, it is legal. You see, it is causing no error. It is possible to create a class like this. It is definitely possible to create empty unit in Python can be always created by using pass. If you want to give some if condition over here, and in else you want to pass, you can simply pass. In the sense, your else is currently empty. Okay, that is the meaning of pass. There is no such special meaning to it. Now, if I am creating the object of this class employee, what do you mean by object? Object means it is going to acquire all the properties of the class. All the properties meaning all the variables, all the functions inside a class can be accessed by that object. When you are registering for the gate examination, you are filling up a form. So, what all fields you are entering over there? You are entering your name, your college code, maybe the field in which you want to apply the gate for. Is it online? Is it offline? How do you want to apply? How do you want to go for it? Okay, you are going to fill those details. So, your instance or your form is just another instance of your class gate. Okay, in the same way, if I want to hire employees in my company is currently having 0 employees. I want to hire my first ever employee. Okay, then what all features this employee will have, whatever feature the class is having, all those features these 2 new employees that I hired today are going to have. Does that mean that if the class is completely empty, if there is nothing in the class, does it mean that the location of the first employee and the location of the second employee is same? No, it doesn't mean that. You see, are both the employee IDs same? No. Each employee is going to have its own desk, its own location, and his own features. In the same way, employee 2 is also having his own desk, his own location. Everything is dependent on that employee. So whenever you are creating a class, you are actually creating different units of your object. In the sense, this is your big fat employee class. Okay, you are creating multiple objects for this class. I am creating the first or 2 ever employees, employee 1 and employee 2, and both of them are going to have access to your class, that is for sure. But does that mean that is employee 1 is same as employee 2? Never. Why? Because every memory location allocated for employee 1 and employee 2 is different. If you try to print the object, you can check. If I try to print the object, you see what is it printing? It is printing that this is the employee classes object and it is somewhere at this hexadecimal location. Somewhere at this hexadecimal location, which is definitely different, you see, right? This location of or creation of this employee 1 and employee 2, both are different. It means both the objects are currently different. Okay, now my class is currently empty. I am okay with that, but I want to apply some properties here. In the sense, well, I want employee 1 is definitely going to have his first name. No. Okay, let me give that his first name is Mr. A. Okay, I am simply, naming this as first. I don't want to complicate things. Okay, first, I don't have to write first name every time. Okay, so I am creating employee's first name is A, and employee's 1 last name is actually XYZ. Okay, so we are having his name and first name and last name. Let us also, create his email, because he is a part of this company. He definitely has to have some email, at the rate whatever is the company's address, .com. He is having his email address, all right. And I also have to give him some salary, no. So I'm creating a variable for salary and I'm giving some values over here. Okay. So you are creating this first ever object and you are initialized with these properties. This was the limitation in JDK, in C++ also, where you are not able to create the fields dynamically, but here in Python, you are able to create the variables dynamically, even though these properties are not there in your class employee. The class is currently totally empty. There is nothing over here. Still, I am able to create these fields and print the records if I wish to. If I wish to now print, say for example, employee's email, I can easily print email like this. It is possible to print email, okay? Because you created the variable and you are storing the information in that variable. If I haven't given employee 2's email yet, I haven't given that yet. So this attribute that you are giving for employee 1, you make sure that these attributes are only for employee 1. They are not allocated or created for employee 2 yet. If you wish to create the same attributes for employee 2, then you can definitely do the same thing. You can apply the same property. But well, now this time I want to create the details for employee 2. That doesn't mean that these values are for employee 1 and employee 2 both. They are only there for employee 1. Somebody is asking some question. Yeah, here. We have dynamic method. Okay. Now, dynamic method declaration as we are creating attributes. So you want to create a method that creates this properties automatically for these objects, right? That is where we use constructor. The point of using constructor is that only that you are creating the attribute and you are allocating the attributes for now that attribute that you are giving for a class. No, if it is declared inside a class, it is going to be global for all the objects, in the sense your object 1 can have those attributes and its value, your object 2 can have those attributes and its value. But whenever you are allocating attributes like this, you see the limitation of it. That is the reason we don't use these method for allocating values to these attributes. Getting it? This what you are asking is nothing but a constructor which can assign values to the attributes that you are passing in form of parameters. Getting it, Sagar? Yes, solve it. Okay. Now, coming back to the point, that is the point. See, we cannot allocate every time. You cannot create variables like this, okay? And variable created for, employee 1, they are only attributes for employee 1 only. It is not even allocated as null. See, you understand the concept of none, okay? You understand the concept of none. It is same as null in your other languages, but when I create the attribute of employee 1, no, the attributes are not getting even none value in employee 2, because these attributes you are only creating based on the first object. Here is where the limitation comes. The same attributes are not the classes attributes. No, these are objects attribute. So you don't want them to be created for single object now and then. And that is the reason we use the constructor to create the attributes and initialize the values there and there itself for any number of objects that you create henceforth. That is the point of using constructor in Python. You don't have to allocate memory individually, not allocation of memory, but even this memory is not even allocated to employee 2. Employee 2 is still not having this attribute. See, the case should be, it should have at least none value, because I haven't initialized it. No, okay, it could have none value. No, these are dedicated only for employee 1. They are not even seen or looked at upon by employee 2. That is where the limitation comes, and that is the reason we don't want attributes to be allocated like this. No, I don't want attributes to be allocated like this, but I want how it to be allocated. It should be allocated in the constructor. How? Let me go back to the class now. Okay, I'm coming here in the class. I don't want it to be empty, so I'm removing the pass attribute from here, and I'm creating the constructor. Now, apart from your constructor, apart from, let me open my notepad. I am going to give you something for research today. Okay, whenever you get time, you research on this. Otherwise, I'll help you out. There is no problem in that. But apart from your init constructor, you have lot more, you can say, functions. Okay, you have other functions. I specifically remember this function reversed. Okay, reverse is there. Then you have other functions like what was there? You have a string, str is there. Then you have other function like If you remember, the representation of the object is there. What else? I forgot. Okay, so there are other functions which can be written by using double underscore. 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 Okay, underscore is just one underscore. If you use double double underscore, then it is it is known as dunder in Python. Dunder in the sense it is double underscore in Python, and the functions starting with double underscore are usually predefined, or they have some certain certain meaning to it. In the sense, if I give you the example of reverse, no, it is a predefined function which can be used to reverse anything. List, tuple. It can be used to reverse your set also. Anything you are passing here as parameter, no, it will be used to reverse that particular thing that you are passing here in terms of parameter. And if you think about string, then string is going to print. If you remember your JDK, okay, let me come back to that point. If you remember your JDK, and whenever you create some class, okay, same case in C++ also, and you create the first object, okay, say for example OB1 I am creating, okay, and a new employee, then whatever object you are printing here, no, which say for example simply OB, when I print the object, it prints all the information regarding the object, in the sense, what is the object referring to, which class, what is the memory allocation of that, all those things can be printed for an object by using this str attribute. It is a predefined function in Python which is printing all the objects information. In the same way, your representation REPR can be used to print whatever you want to print in string format. Whatever data you want to print in string format, it can be used for printing that object's values. These are all the predefined, things, double unders in Python that people are using, but they can be served for your own purpose, in the sense, just like you are giving your own body for constructor, no, in the same way you can give the own body for reverse, and you can probably apply the reverse function over here, and you can reverse out the list. It is totally your choice, okay, how you want to manipulate them. But yes, there are predefined functions like this that are reserved for that purpose only, just like our constructor which is starting with double under init. So whenever you are using init, it is always referring to the default constructor with no parameters if you are passing none over there. And if you are passing some values, it is going to be the parameterized one. It is totally your choice how you are creating it, okay? So, and all these functions, can be defined definitely by the def keyword. You can go ahead and give its own body, but these are all the predefined functions or predefined dunders in Python. Now, if I come back to we are going to see this. I'm going to give you something as a part of homework. Research on how many double unders are there and what is the use of it. You can do the research on that later on. But coming to our point, I can create a constructor like this, and I can simply allocate the variable's value by passing the parameter here. Well, employee 1, okay, his name is Mr. A, first name, okay. Well, his last name was XYZ, okay. And email. Your email can be formed by using your first name and last name. No, okay. I'm not passing email over here. I'm directly passing his, let us pass his payment. Okay, so it is, his salary is something like this. Okay. And for employee 2, I'm creating employee 2. Okay. And, his name is this, comma, his last name is DEF, and his salary is something. Okay. Now, whenever you are, or let us say, for example, for now, let us pass email also. Okay. Let us pass email for now. I'm going to change that later on. Email for first one, and email for second one. Okay. So, whenever you are calling the constructor, it is passing some parameters. Now, I have to initialize these parameters in class itself so that I can initialize the variables of class. These which you are using before were only the attributes of that particular object. Now I am creating the attributes of your class, in the sense I am passing here first name. Let us use first itself for ease of last, and you have email, and you have salary. So you have these parameters here. And what is the use of these parameters? This dot first equals to first, that you already know from your JDK. In the same way, for the current calling object, I am using self. This got replaced with self in Python. Okay. Last, self dot email. Okay. Equals to email, and self dot salary equals to salary. So you are initializing your classes variables over here. Everything is good for now. Okay, I can simply run this file. Okay, I can run this and it can create the, what is the problem here? Okay, yeah, this self I forgot to add. Where did I forgot to add self? Here. Every method and every constructor you create in Python is going to have the default first parameter as self. Why it is like that? If I am coming to what example shall I explain you here? Okay, yeah. If the, okay, this you might already have done. You already remember this, I think so. You remember the complex class. Your complex class example, do you remember this? Where you are supposed to add two complexes here, okay? Complex, and the answer was also of type complex. The function in C++ or maybe Java, I don't know where you have seen this, but whenever you are passing two objects here, and you are working on one object, what the point I'm trying to convey is that when you are calling this on C3, you are passing C1 and C2 over here, okay? Whatever object you are passing over here, you are mentioning the object over here that this example is getting called on your C1 and C2 only. Now, in Python, whenever you are creating the object, you need to mention that whenever you are creating the object and whenever you are calling the function, you need to mention that on which function currently the object is getting worked upon for. In the sense, it was not the case with JDK, it was not the case with C++, that you need to pass here this all the time. No. But whenever you are calling the functions on Python, it is possible to call a function on some another object, and having that passed to is possible over here. In Python, you can have the object passed on whenever you are calling the function. You can call a function on a certain object, but with which parameter should it work? With which parameter? Meaning the computation is occurring on which parameter? Oh, not the answer should be saved in C3, all right, but the computation should also have to be done in C3 only. So you are always, whenever you are calling a function in Python, it is by default passing the object for which sense that whatever computation you are going to do, it should be saved or updated in which object? In the same object on which you are currently calling the function onto. That is the reason object is by defaultly passed in all the functions of Python, in all the constructor of Python also. You need to pass self, as in you are mentioning that whatever operation you are doing, it is going to be done on the same object on which you are currently calling the function. That is the reason it is always passing self as the first parameter in Python. And whenever you are passing self here, it is by defaultly pass. You see, 5 are given in the sense whenever you are creating a constructor or whenever you are calling a function, it automatically passes self here. You need not to pass it explicitly, in the sense you are telling that these operations are to be saved on, or this computation is to be saved on the same object employee1. That is the reason you are passing here self in Python. And when you are passing, you have to receive here somewhere. Okay, you're receiving it on self. So it is going to work now. Okay, that is the reason we are passing self all the time. Oh, I did a mistake over here. Yeah. Yes. And it is working fine. Okay. And if now I print employee's email, it has to print, this record, whatever you have given for employee 1. Right? Yeah, email 1. And if you do the same thing for email 2, it is going to print it accordingly. Yeah, I have given email on email and both the time. Okay, so it is doing like that. Okay, so far things are clear in your mind. You have to tell me yes or no. Okay, Janvi is telling can we do it with for loop outside the class apart the, oh yes, of course. Okay, so you are, that is, oh, what you are telling is, no, you are relating the concept of creating arrays of object, right? Isn't it? You are, yes, of course you can do. You can have this thing, where is it? Okay, removed it, but yes, you can create for loop and you can have it allocated for multiple employees. Okay, but make sure that you are creating an array first of your employee class type, and then you are working on it, just like you are working in other okay. The main use of constructor, see, whenever you are allocating the values from outside the class, whenever you are keeping that option open, okay, any object can be created and values can be given from that point. That also gives you the flexibility of changing the value at any point in the time. What I'm telling you is, whenever you are using the assignment operation in the previous statement, in the sense whenever you are allocating the values like this, okay, it gives you the opportunity to change this anytime. At any point of time, you can change this record. Okay. If you don't want to do that, you don't want the programmer or the user to have the flexibility of changing the record now and then and initializing with new values or repeating the same thing again and again, you can use a constructor. The only use of constructor is to give some value to your class's variable so that you see you are hardcoring it into the class. You are not relying on the programmer to do this thing. You see, I'll give you one example. Whenever you are, calling the max function, you are defaultly passing some parameter over here, and it is giving you the output accordingly. I'm giving you the example of a function, okay? So these values are not hard coded in your function. From what you are passing, it is giving you the output. In the same way, if you have a blueprint ready in your hand, if you have a form ready in your hand, you can simply fill out the values. No need to create the form for again, write your name, write your enrollment number, write your class division. Getting it? When you are allocating the values with this way, you are now and then asking the programmer to type out the value on its own again and again. But when you are creating a library class, you are leaving that off the shoulder of the programmer, in the sense the programmer has to simply pass the parameter and simply do automatically, it will be done automatically from your class's body. You are not letting a programmer to allocate values like this. Getting it? When you are creating the class's constructor that way. Constructor is a structure that we can use again and again. Yes, for creating multiple objects, you can use that structure again and again. Yes, you are right. The moment you create the object, the moment init gets called, the moment variables get initialized. Getting it? Yes. Can we add constructor explicitly from outside the class? Oh, no. See, constructor is always in the body of the class. It is always in the body of the class. You cannot add it from outside the class. Yeah, it is a part of the class. Yes. Okay. Now coming to yes, where were we? Okay. So coming to this point, whenever you are creating the object like this, it is going to hardcore. It is going to allocate the values dependent upon this object onto that class. Now, say for example, I don't want to pass email here, and I want to create this email in such a way that it is not, you are not passing the email field over here, but let me redo the email part. Okay, I don't want to pass email. Okay, from whatever is the first name and last name. No, I want to create email. All right, that can be definitely done. Well, I know that it is using the combination of first name, concatenating it with dot. It is using the combination of last name. So that of course can be done. And abc.xyz at the rate, okay, So you can add your @ and whatever, your company name is there, you can add over there, and .com, whatever you want to add, you can add. This means that whenever you are creating or whenever you are passing the first name and last name, no, your employee email address will be automatically created by how you are passing your first name and last name. This also can be done again, but you are using your predefined values first and last over here, and you are storing it in the email address. Like this also can be done. Okay, now you have this class in your hand. Okay, say for example, your task is to simply, you are creating a function. Oh, you already have first name and last name. No. Okay, let us create our own function now. Okay, I am creating a function that is simply giving me the complete name or the full name, including the first name and last name of the employee. That is what something I wanted to do over here. Okay, so I am creating a function fn that is going to give me the full name of all the employees. Of course, it is possible without functions too. Okay, you don't need to create a function for extracting the full name. You can simply do like this. No, well, employee to first name. Okay, and concatenate it with some empty string, and you can have employee to dot last name. It is definitely possible to do something like this. Okay, yes. Okay, it is giving. Okay, this can be definitely done. But oh wait, I have to add two over here. Okay, you understand, you get the gist of it. Okay, now, but is it every time do I have to do like this? Every time I want to extract the full names of all the employees, I want to have that record. Do I have to do like this? No, I can create a function simply. Okay, that is the reason we are creating a function to ease out our task. So I am creating my first function, first name, full name. I want to extract all the names from first name and last name combination of all the employees from the class. All right, so I'm hardcoding the function inside your class itself. Okay, and I said, on which object do you want to work? Well, for the current object only, I want to extract the full name. Okay, I don't want to return anything else. For the current object only, I want to extract the full name. Okay, you can simply print the name over here also, or you can choose to return a string also. Okay, let us for a change return a string here. I want to return the string in the sense, let us, you already know this, formatting functions, right? You already know the brackets. I am using this to format a string. I am formatting the string in such a way that I want to print my first name first, comma, I want to print my last name along with this. So what I'm doing here, wait, I have to finish this quotation here itself. I forgot to finish. Yeah. So what is this function doing? It is simply formatting out or returning the first name and the last name, and returning the full name fn inside the current object, whatever you are calling this on to. Okay, so let us try. I have to run this again for sure. I am running this again. All right, now let us try. Now this fn is going to return string. So it is always better to print this. Okay, I am initially calling it on my first object. It is printing anything. Okay, it is printing by default. Okay, it is printing Mr. A space XYZ. Okay, if I do this on function 2, of course you can do like this. So the use of function is to ease our task, and again, on which object you are currently calling, you need to pass that object over here on which you are currently calling the function. Janvi, this can be also done with, oh, Mansi is telling, yes, no issues. Yes. Who else is leaving? I don't know. Everybody has to leave. Okay. So those who have to leave, no, they can leave. No worries. Just mention your numbers before you leave. Those who have to leave, I am okay with that. You can leave. Yeah. While they are leaving. Okay, let us come back to our program. Yeah. So you can call it like this. Now, so this are all, see, you can see whatever functions you are calling here, they are all working on your instance variables. Instance variable in the sense your class's objects variable. In the sense, whenever you are creating object, you are passing some parameters, you are receiving them in these variables, which are instance variable of the class. I am coming to another point now. The point I am trying to convey here is that whenever you are creating the class of employee, okay, and you are creating employee 1, you are creating employee 2, you are creating employee 3, there are properties which can be kept shared across all of them, and there are properties or attributes which can be kept independent for all of them. In the sense, if I talk about your full name, no, it is going to be different for each and every employee. In the sense, independent for each and every employee, and those things that you want to keep personal to each and every object of the class, like whenever you are filling your gate form, no, your first name and last name, it is what you are having as your own personal identity. Your ID for the gate card is going to be personal to you only, but the location of the examination can be same for multiple group of students, no? So whenever you want to create an application or whenever you want to create a field, that is going to be common for all of them. It is not dependent on individual object, but it is global for all the objects. Such field or such values, such variables actually are known as class variable. And the variables which you are allocating, like first name, last name, email address, your personal address, your phone number, all these are dependent on the employee. Those are known as instance variables because they are related to each and every different instance of the class, but the class variables are going to be a part of the class, not of your independent object. Things that you want to share across all the people, that can be known as class variable, and instance variables are going to be the variables which are going to be separately defined or independent for that particular employee only. If I give you that example, okay, say for example, you are giving salary we are given, okay, say for example, you are giving a hike of 50% to all the employees, okay, or some percent to all the employees, it is a common factor, okay. So in such cases, you can create a variable. I am giving increment, okay, of some percentage to all the employees. So increment is going to be now a global variable for employee 1 also, for employee 2 also. It is going to be a global variable for all the employees that you create henceforth. And if I want to, create a function that is computing that, okay, I am creating a function that is computing the raise of that individual, that independent person, okay. It means it is going to, do some computation and print the final salary, okay. In that case, whatever is the self salary, whatever is the individual instance object salary, you are going to, do some computation on it, okay. I can multiply this with increment, okay, and I can add that to your self salary. So what I'm doing here, I am computing some increment, okay, on your current salary, and I am adding that to your final salary. This can definitely be done, and you can print your self salary here itself. I am printing current object salary, but you see that your this salary, that this increment that you are using here, it is going to be global for all the variables. Even though the salary is different, let me restart and clear the output, okay. Yeah, yes, I have to run this first, and then we can run this, and then I have to call employee1 dot compute. So it has to compute the salary. Now it is showing error because, yes, this point I was trying to convey here. See, your increment variable, it is saying it is not defined. Why? Because where is your increment variable located? It is located in the class's memory. It is not located in your employee 1's memory or employee 2's memory or employee 3's memory, because it is not a instance variable. It is a class's own variable. And whenever you have class's own variables, how do we access them? With the name of the class. What is the name of the class? The name of the class is employee, no? So I can put here employee dot increment. In the sense, I am mentioning that it is not your, yeah, it is computing properly. The reason it is computing it is you are updating your individual object salary, okay, but how are you incrementing it? Well, it is the policy is same for all the employees, no? Okay, whatever policy are same, you are creating a variable apart from your instance variable. So this is a class variable, instance variable. Are you clear with both the differentiation? Are you clear with the difference between a class variable and object or instance variable? And anywhere you see a class variable, no, it is always accessed with the name of the class. It is never accessed with the name of the object because it is dependent on class. It is not in the memory of each and every object. It is in the memory of class and not the object. Okay. So far, any questions do you have?
Ma'am,
Yes.
what if we enter self instead of class name?
Oh, it will work. It will work. If you put yourself, it will work. You see, it will work fine. The reason I am telling you, see, whenever you are creating the object of this class, this object can access all the properties of class, okay? So you can even put yourself in the sense you are telling that it is current objects variable. But actually it is not an instance variable. You see, it is a class variable. You can access it like this. But can you see? You can access, of course, because the object are belonging to each and every class only. It is possible. But this variable you are creating, no. Whatever value you are updating to this variable, this value is not private to even E2 or E3. If somebody comes and changes the value after, say for example, after we are done with this, say for example, now I am changing the value that employee, dot increment, I am changing the value, then this value will be changed in all of them. If I change the value and if I call pmp1.compute, it is not personal to any of this object. Whatever reflection you are doing, it is like creating a joint account. Joint account in the sense, whatever number of users you are having, no, everybody will be able to withdraw the balance. Everybody will be able to see the updated balance, but that balance is not private to anybody. Getting it?
Ma'am, go to the Jupyter.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Instead of employee, just write EMP1
It
in
will
the
work
line.
again. Yeah, this line, no.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will work.
So will it change for every instance or for that particular instance?
Only this instance, you see, if I do this and if I do the same thing now for employee 2, okay, employee 1, it will not change for all of them. Why? Because now you are changing the value only for, how did it compute? Uh, okay, let us run this first. Okay. I am changing it to 100. I am changing, before I change this to 100, I want to run this. Wait, I am changing this now to 200, okay? And if you are running this, 200% increment and 200% increment. Employee 2. See, it is same here, the old value, which was 100%. Getting it? This, when you are specifying this, what does this mean? You are changing the value of this variable for that particular instance only, not for all the other instances. Getting it? It is still returning the same value. Got it?
So ma'am, can't we consider it as an instance variable?
Okay. See, whenever you are creating the variable above all the constructors, in the sense you are creating it inside a class, The use of this variable is to have something global which is common for all of them. But if some employee is coming and changing the value, it is going to be private for that variable only. It means henceforth in his copy, increment is replaced with whatever value you are giving over here. But that is not the point of it, you see. What is the point of class variables? To allocate something which is going to be common for all the objects. Still, if you are changing the property for even, it is going to be, see the way you are accessing it. Are you accessing it with the class? No. I am accessing this with a particular instance. So at that point onwards, it lost its meaning in the sense this variable is no longer a class variable, but you are treating it as a instance variable. Getting it? If you want to do something like this, you can definitely add a field over here and create, where is it here? Here you can create increment, field, and you can allocate value independently. But the main point of creating class variable is to give something globally. Got it? Which is same for all the objects. But
Yes,
again, yes, you can definitely do this. I am able to do, no, you see, I am able to compute this for, but then it lost its meaning that increment should be same for all the employees. So it is not following the property right now. So it depends on the application again, how you want to manipulate it. But if you want to keep something which is same for all of them, instead of passing here independently, you can simply create that and you can use it like this. Any which way, the object when it is changing, no, it lost its meaning of getting global in the sense for even it is going to be a different value, but for it to an it is going to be same only. It lost its meaning of having the global value when you did some manipulation like this. It can be definitely manipulated. Of course, it can be done, but again, it is losing its purpose. Getting it, Sagar?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So far, do you have any questions now in what you've seen today? I'm revisiting the concept of OOP because you are asked this in interviews, and I don't want you to, miss out on this whenever the questions are asked. So I'm repeating it again. If you have any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, you are done for the day. From my side, actually, you can leave the session. If you have any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, you can leave the session. And whenever you get time, make sure you are researching on those underscores that I told you, any it is there. Whenever you get time, research on this. What are this? And how do we use it? What is the point of using it? Try to research on this. You have string also. I forgot there is one more. I forgot the name. Research on how many double enders are there in Python.
Ma'am, can't we call that method which you show like for the complex number addition by the class name?
Okay. So, whenever you are creating object in Python, the reason you are passing self is you are telling that this operation has to be done and saved in my object only. See, whenever you are doing that with, this, right? You are using C1 to store the record of this addition in C1. Okay. Because whatever computation are currently being done, it should be saved on which variable or which object. I want this computation to be saved on C1. Okay, it is currently saving on C1. Because this function is returning an object. It returns an object. No. So where do you want to save it? I want to update C1's real and imaginary values. It is possible, of course. Instead of this, in Python, what are we doing? We are simply calling C1 because this means that you are storing the computation on C1 itself. You don't need to store it somewhere else like this. This means that I am calling this on self. Means the updation should be done on my variables only and not anywhere else. Getting it?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
I am not able to write my enrollment number. 141, ma'am.
Okay, okay, I'll write it down. No worries. Yes. Sagar, got it? What I'm explaining here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, have you debugged that program on last lab we had?
Uh, Debugging in Jupyter, I haven't done it. Let me check if we have something here to debug. Mm, oh, that program you are telling. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, I thought that you want to debug in Python, in Jupyter.
Yes. Ma'am.
Oh, I don't know how to debug in here. Okay, let me check that. Okay, I didn't got a chance. See that. Never is J breaking else if uh, did you print INJ? It is starting with 2. It is not starting with 0. Why? It is directly starting with 2.
Ma'am, that's the problem. I think I have start. Uh, I'm starting with two only, but there are some only 2040. There are some numbers only there. They are in alif, not all.
Yeah, that is I was thinking. Okay, so you have I equals to j. Okay, alright, if we remove this for now, it is working with that. Yeah. Uh, you see, is it getting the correct output now? I'll comment this out. Yeah. With 2, it is.
Yes, ma'am, it is correct now.
Okay. So what I am doing, I am not, going before itself, because if you go before no, you
Hmm.
see your I and j 0 will be 0. When your j
Yes.
is kept, then 0 1. It is parsing. Then 0 2. Okay. But any which way it should get inside this no
Hmm.
0 0 0 1. Whenever it is not equal, it should go inside. Yeah, this is a. Oh, you are breaking the loop, bacha. See, yes. See, whenever you are getting equal, you are breaking the loop, no? So J થોડી આગળ ફરશે પછી બ્રેક થઈ ગયું તો.
Okay, ma'am. So that is a mistake. I have to write past there.
Continue, yeah, or pass or something. Yeah. So it will. Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Get it.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you can leave. Huh?